you are talking about integrity, you are really talking about the real person, who that person is.
When you talk of integrity, you talk of honesty. To be honest. And to be honest means to be trustworthy, to be truthful. And politics is science and art of government.
Politics is about the people.
Yes.
And if you talk about it in a deeper sense, it has to do with on how to lead themselves.
Apologies to our esteemed viewers for starting a little bit behind schedule. All right, in the last edition, we deliberated extensively on the attributes and importance of being a servant leader. And today it is expedient and imperative that we look at the accessibility and approachability of our leaders as another vital attribute that should be internalized both in the church and in the society at large. Good day and welcome to today's edition of Christians in Politics. I am Charles Philip Owakolam, and I have in the studio Mr. Lucky Erai Kwemen and Reverend Canon Agbejume. We are welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, they are here to discuss the topic leaders, accessibility, and approachability. This is a wonderful one, a very wonderful topic in leadership. And to really go into this, I would like us to start from the scratch. Let's start from the leader of our church, or the head of the church, as the model for this topic. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. So using Jesus' style of leadership, how do we describe approachability and the accessibility of a leader? What is accessibility? What does it mean to be accessible? What does it mean to be approachable? Let me start from Reverend Canon Agbejume.
Yeah, before we talk about accessibility and approachability of a leader, first of all, who is a leader? Because it's good for us to know who a leader is before we now look into how accessible or approachable is that leader. A leader is a person who leads a group or a community or a nation. And leader, as it is, can be compared to a shepherd whose interest is to lead others in the right path. So the center point of the interest of the leader must be the welfare and the interests of those he or she is leading. So it's more or less the head. And at the same time, the servant. That is a leader. So when we are talking about accessibility of a leader and approachability of a leader who sees himself as a servant to those who or she is leading must have a listening ear to know the feelings, the pains, the anxieties, and the interests of those he or she is leading. By so doing, he will listen to their yearnings and know the decisions to take. And when we are talking about approachability, when a leader doesn't see himself as a servant, or he sees himself as a lord, thereby terrorizing those he is leading, that leader cannot be approachable by the led, because they will always run away from him. It's like what the Bible tells us when Jesus talked about the good shepherd, that there are some who are wolves, and their interest is to do what? To devour the sheep. And if a wolf is in the midst of a sheep, the sheep will run away until the shepherd makes himself available and will provide coverage, security, protection, and will lead the sheep to a place where they will have enough grasses, water to feed on. And it will make the sheep to see the shepherd as a friend, not as a lord, not as a terror. So that is what it means to have a leader that is approachable, that is accessible.
Before we move ahead, let me hear from you, Mr. Lucky.
As rightly said, a leader is he that leads or she that leads a group of people. It may be rightly or wrongly, because criminals still have leaders, rightly or wrongly. And a leader is maybe a group of people, a family, a society, a church, or a nation. That's a leader. But the qualities of a leader is for him, or as of a leader is for him to be admitting approach. Well, to be able to see himself as a sacrificial lamb. That's what a leader, that's how a leader is able to make himself accessible. You see yourself as giving it up for those you are leading. It's like a father, when a alarm robber comes to your house, you don't expect your son to go and open the door. The father should be able to put the door to go and open the door. Because you are the leader, you are the protector of your family. So as a leader, you see yourself as protecting your people, protecting your nation, protecting your church. I think with that, people are able to, or people you are leading, able to assess you and speak their mind to you. So that's being admitting approach. It's what it takes to be approachable. So any leader that is in charge of people should admit approach. You should create a way for people to always reach you.
Okay, but it seems that some leaders, even though simple in nature, they tend to build walls around them against people. Why does this happen sometimes? Why is it that some people, when they get into leadership position, you see that they are not easily accessible, they are not easily approachable? You have to go through lots of protocols, lots of processes to get to them. Let me start from you.
Leadership itself is not easy. Leadership itself is a burden. Leadership itself is difficult, because the people you are leading, actually you don't know their minds. You are leading both the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's why leadership is difficult. I was talking to a former governor once at a time. Former state governor was in his house. He was telling me that, my brother, leadership is bad. It's not easy. That you will know that somebody hates you, you will still have to receive him and even share a drink with him. Because you need even that evil man to be in power. Because if you wait for only the saints to vote for you, you will not win an election. So you must mix with the good, mix with the bad, mix with the evil. It's not for you to do the good, but mixing with them. So it's called that leadership is not easy. But a good leader, let's focus on a good leader. Because I said we have bad leaders, we have good leaders. A good leader should you know, when you say we should use church as a leader that is not afraid of his life. That was Jesus. He wasn't afraid of his life. That's why he gave it up, even at that early age. So for you to be accessible, you must make sure that, one, your life is no longer your own. You have agreed to give it up for your people you are leading. And you must, because that's the only way you can truly open. But if you are afraid, you will not be able to open your door. Let's say, as I said the truth. My door is open now. Tomorrow, if you give me 5 billion, I'll go and play policeman. It's natural. And before you see me, they'll say, oh God, did Ogata used to come? I was like, is it not the same Lucky I was in SAS last week? Wow. My own fear is kidnappers will come, armed robbers will come, evil ones will come. So I have to protect my own self. Because the midst of battle, your head first. So at times you see things like this create this kind of difficult situation around our leaders. But a good and fearless leader should always devise means to see his people. But they are, first of all, you are not a leader when you don't have people. A man that doesn't have a child is not a father. A pastor that doesn't have congregation is not. Are you going to pastor the pews? You are like a shepherd. Are you going to shepherd the bench? So the people makes you a leader.
Exactly.
If you're a pastor, the congregation makes you a pastor. So you should know that without these people, you cannot even be called a leader. So they should come first. When you have that out of your mind, you go to remove this barricade. Be free with them, because you should learn to lose it. I said it before. At the cost of it, if you die, to God be the glory. Jesus died for us. If he had learned to protect himself, he will be able to protect himself.
Okay.
But salvation will not come.
Okay, from your contribution, I take it that you're suggesting that to an extent it's good to, build some walls around you, make it a little bit difficult.
Not
if I
difficult,
have to
no,
use that
no,
word.
no. I didn't say you must do the work. I said you must be ready to be a sacrificial lamb. If you have your mind, you don't need to build walls.
Yes.
Because it's fear that makes them fear, one, pride, one, ego. Thirdly, that makes them build wall. Okay. So if you're a sacrificial lamb, ego will die, pride will die, fear of death will die. So if those things goes, you don't need to build wall around yourself. It's when you want to own your life and you want to still lead. You cannot hold it back and you want to give it back again. Yes. So when you start to say, these people I'm leading, if I die in this course, let me just use Ganifa Yumi as an example.
Okay.
Each day Ganifa Yumi goes to the office, he goes with a traveling bag, drugs, toiletries inside, because they may come and pick him to go to prison.
Wow.
You see, he has decided to die for the Nigerian masses. He has made up his mind. But some will not. So those people will build war. Who is coming next? Secretary, I'm not around. But this one will open his door. You want to arrest me for the sake of the masses? Go ahead. You see, he has given up his life. So a leader should be such a person. But in most cases, actually, those people who call leaders are not leaders. They are rulers. Leaders is different from rulers.
Yes.
Those people who call leaders, they are rulers. They rule over us. They rule over us. You talk about they are terrorists. They rule over us. When you rule over people, you see them far below you. But you are leading people, you see them as, without them, you don't even exist. Wow. So I'm not saying you should make a barricade, no. But when you do this, people who you are leading will even know. They will even respect you. Nobody will want to harm you. This man is too good. The masses will protect you on their own.
Okay. Canon Abuja, as a leader, you're like a center of reference.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to reach you. Some people want to reach you directly. Nobody wants to go through aids to reach you. But sometimes it can be very cumbersome to attend to everyone. So what's your take on this? Should leaders make themselves open, very accessible, very approachable, or should there be a limit?
There can never be a limit when it comes to accessibility of a leader by the led. Let me take it from where our brother stopped. What is making many leaders, I put it in quote, building walls around themselves? In the first place, are they leaders or they are rulers? Even in the Bible, Jesus made reference. He referred those who are in Israel as rulers of Israel. He referred to them as rulers, not leaders. Why did he call them rulers of Israel? He called them rulers of Israel because their interest is to suppress the people, is to advance their own cause at the detriment of those they are leading. And thereby the interest of those they are leading is not in their heart. And now when you say people, not or because they find it difficult or because of the huge number of those they will attend to. If you look at what happened in the case of Moses, when everybody are coming to him, what did his father-in-law told him? Get people who are spiritually sound, morally sound, people who are like-minded, people who will not collect money, who will not collect bribe, people who will also be fair as you are. And that is why, because there is nothing that we are practicing in this world today that is not taken from the Bible. It's taken from the scripture. Leaders of 1,000, leaders of 100, leaders of millions, so on and so forth. And let them judge their groups. It is when they are not able to handle whatever each one will, because there should be a layer of leadership. When a layer, the bottom layer fails, it will make reference, it will refer the case to the next until it gets to you who is at the top.
Okay.
That does not make you, or that does not create a barricade that the lead should not access you. Okay. The reason why people are creating barricades that is making it difficult for the followers to access them today, in the first place, are they really chosen by the people? When you impose yourself on the people, you become a ruler, and you impose your will on the people, not listening to the people. Okay. And when you don't listen to the people, there is no way you can feel their concern. There is no way you can show interest on what is affecting them. And if you see the kind of leaders we have in Nigeria today, they are not leaders, they are rulers. Because many of them are not elected by the citizens. And because they are not elected by the citizens, they find it difficult to live among the citizens. And for them to feel secure, they will have to do what? Build walls of defense around them. Like what somebody said, that the children of the downtrodden you denied today will haunt your children tomorrow. Wow. You understand? Because when you deny people their right, you see only one person. Just for example, the National Assembly members that will take over today, okay. Ninth Assembly, 4-point-something billion has been budgeted. 4.6 has been budgeted in a country that cannot pay a civil servant 30,000 naira as a minimum wage. And at the end of the month, they will be paying them 13 million naira as salary. Whereas the ordinary man on the street have no food to eat, no water to drink, no good road, no education, no hospital. In a country like this, and you say they are leaders, they are the type of leaders referred to in Ezekiel. That we kill the sheep, eat the flesh, and use the skin to make clothes for themselves. Is that not what is happening? When they see a juicy position, they will put their daughters and their children there. Go to the central bank. It is the children of the governors and senators, commissioners you will see there. Go to FIRS, go to NNPC. You will not see the shadow of the common man there. But if you go to Wuse Market, the people you will see pushing wheelbarrow, the Merua, they are the children of the poor. You will never see the children of the rich doing that. It's because we have people who, in quote, are seen as leaders, but are not leaders, but rulers.
Wow. Okay, like I said earlier, we'll use the church as model to this. Okay, now, reports has it that some church leaders generally are also guilty of building walls around them. So I'd like to hear from you. What is your take on this, and how can it be addressed? Is the church really guilty of this?
Yeah, if the church is somehow guilty, okay, I will not exonerate the church from the fear, because what is affecting the society today, what you see in the society today, is what is taking place in the church. Because the church is supposed to be the conscience of the society. Though it's not all denominations, okay, that are guilty of this offense. I was telling on Sunday, I preached in my church on Sunday, the coming of the Holy Spirit, where the Bible says that at the later days, if care is not taken, even the elect will be what? Will be deceived.
Okay.
Why so? Because there are many people today who are not called by God, who have come into the ministry and have seen the church ministry as a profession, as a means of survivor. And you see only somebody who is considered to be the servant of the people. We have more than 40 bodyguards. Before you can access him, you are going to pay consultation fee, so on and so forth. On Sunday, you will collect tithe, you will collect offerings, you will collect everything. All goes into the account of the GO. The man is the GO, the wife is the treasurer, the son is a board member of the church. And you will not see any member of the congregation as a stakeholder. And not only that, the same people they are collecting these offerings from, they will give them their sticker, go and paste it at your door. And the man who is giving you the sticker to go and paste at his door is having how many bodyguards? He's having 40 bodyguards. You see the irony. The man who is giving you a sticker to go and you will paste the picture of the GO at your door, believing that the picture of the GO will protect you, whereas the GO is relying on 40 bodyguards for his own protection.
Wow.
That is not a leader. These are the kind of people that Jesus referred to as wolves. Their aim is to devour the sheep. They are in the church today. We cannot run away from that. I was listening to a preacher some days ago who was talking about sowing of seed, that the seed you will sow will determine your prosperity. Yes, we determine, but who do you sow this seed to? Is it to God or to the GO? Is it the GO that will determine your level of prosperity? It is God. So it is God that determines who to bless and who not to bless. And you go to a church, you will give, and the GO will tell you, no, this one is not acceptable.
Okay. I would like to go to Mr. Lucky now. Earlier we said that at some point it's good to have some, will I say, aids to help you with the people you're leading, so that everything doesn't get to you because it can be cumbersome. Does this also apply to the church? How do you see this issue of accessibility and approachability in the men of God of today?
Thank you so much. As he has rightly said, you know, this church is a reflection of the society.
Okay.
Because it's the people of a nation that makes the church. If all sense church, you expect people that lives in Abuja to worship in all sense church. You expect people that lives in Mali or Ghana. So which means definitely people in all sense church will behave like people that lives in Abuja. That is one.
Okay.
Then secondly, the church now being made up of people that lives in a particular society are supposed to be a change agent to those people. That they are bad, they go to the church, they come out good. And they come out good, that will now reflect on the society. So the church is supposed to remodel the people in the society. But we have gotten to a stage that it's not difficult to differentiate between the society and the church. It's like the society is even influencing the church the more. So that's why you see the church now, when you go to a birthday party and you dance Azoto, you now come back to the same church, a different platform, and you expect the band to be dancing Azoto. If they're not, that church is not lively. Wow. They are not dancing shaku shaku. You're forgetting that the church is not a birthday ground. It's not a birthday party. It's not a club. Because you did it in the club yesterday, you're supposed to come to church and change. I'm not able to do it again. So people are now trying to influence the church to do what is happening in society. So also the leaders of some churches, not all. You know, they say absolute power corrupt absolutely. So there are some church leaders that by the setting up of their church or by the setting of the church, the administrative setting, they have absolute power.
Okay.
There's some church by their setting, you don't have absolute power. I'll give you an example. In Baptist church, before a priest is employed, it's the church that will employ the priest. It's the church that will sack the priest. Okay. That is at the method, yes, for you. They will interview you, they will determine your salary. If the day they are tired of you, the congregation will sack you. It's Baptist. Yes, Baptist, not Methodist, Baptist. Okay. Because my friend's dad was a pastor in Baptist, the entire priest in Baptist. The congregation, so in such place, you can see that pastor doesn't have any power at all. Wow. Although I don't like that system anyway. So actually, some pastors have arrogated to themselves the position of Jesus. And again, I also blame the congregation, because the congregation have also allowed them to brainwash them to a level that church members are now slaves to their pastors, not even slaves to Jesus. That's where the problem is coming from. By the time you become slave to your pastor takes the place of Jesus. The man at the end of the day will place himself in the place of God. You, the members, cannot reach him. It's happening everywhere. They have bodyguard, as he has said. It's difficult to reach them. I've seen many. I don't want to be mentioning them. We also are there. It's difficult. If I start mentioning names, now you'll be surprised. Or like, as I say, I love Anglican. I will have a setting that, like my church, somebody will tell me, hey, Brother Lucky, you are the vicar something. Please, I want to see the vicar. I say, no. Tell the vicar, I call him. You don't need to see me. It's your pastor. It's 100% your pastor. It's 100% my pastor. We have equal share. We have equal right in his presence. Go to him. And then go. I'm the vicar, so you don't need to see me before you see the vicar. I know that was not the vicar. Somebody's coming to see you, but I've dispatched him already. Yes. Go to your pastor. Your pastor. I will don't even use the word vicar. It looks to me, it looks heavy. Go and see your pastor. Because pastor means to nurture you. Somebody that's nurturing you. You should have him. So, yes. Men of God should learn not to live in the of the world. Siren started, you see this customized place number. It was started by 419. Before you know, our pastors are not using customized place number. Are you a 419? It originated from there. Because the government uses siren and rulers in the Bible. Solomon was a king. The lifestyle of Solomon should be different from the lifestyle of Isaiah. Should be different from the lifestyle of Moses. These are prophets. These are pastors. Let me use that word. Yes. But our pastors now want to live like Solomon the king. Like the ruler, the governors, the ministers. No! Your calling is different. So you are called to nurture souls. You are called to be a pastor. A pastor should be a pastor. You should not copy a ruler, a governor of your state. Because you have Bentley, because the governor bought Bentley, you have the money, you want to go and buy Bentley. No! He's a governor. You are a pastor. Okay. Even if you be a bishop today, or archbishop, you are first a pastor. Pastor is taken from among men. Wow. So it is wrong for us to be copying the world. Those doing that, they are copying the world system. Okay. And if they don't take time, it may lead them to hell.
Wow. You know, in copying the world, if you look at what is trending now, currently, it leaves much to be desired. You know, when politicians, they gather, they will entertainers, comedians, to come and entertain them. The church is not an entertainment center. Right. The church is not a club. But what you see these days, the altar of God has been turned to entertainment ground, where nonchalants are now invited into the altar, and they will stand inside the end, and they will even begin to make jests of Jesus.
No, you'll be laughing.
You don't do that. No. The house of God, a temple of God, is a holy temple. It's a sacred place. It must not be used for profane activities. But profanity, because it's the society now is influencing the church even more than the church influencing the society. Wow. Now you not even see pastors. The kind of life of affluence that even politicians are not living. This has become a way of life. Then what do you tell the society?
How do you change them?
how to change the society.
What you are doing, what we are doing.
So instead of being shepherds, the pastors have become wolves.
All right, viewers, it's really getting more interesting and more interesting. Mr. Lucky talked about the Baptist Church, but we are going to look at the structure in Anglican Church, and we're also going to look at how to address this issue in the church generally when we return from this short break. Also to let you know that you can call in, tell us how it is in your church. Are your leaders accessible? Are they approachable? You will tell us when we come back from the break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. Remember, we are discussing accessibility and the approachability of leaders. And remember, you can join the conversation. Call in. The numbers are showing right now on your television screen. You can also join via the social media platform. Tell us how your leaders in the church, how accessible they are, how approachable they are. Tell us, even you can also go to the society, tell us how it is. All right, we are talking about the church leaders, the accessibility, things happening in the church. But right now, how do we address this issue? And again, in the Anglican Church, I'll start from you, Canon. In the Anglican Church is known for its good structure. It has existed for about 500 years now and still waxing strong. Is there any structure in place that checks this kind of issue in the communion?
Yeah. You know, the Anglican Church is structured in a way that apart from having layers of leadership, the Anglican Church is episcopally led and synodically governed. Okay. Once in a year, there is a forum called the Synod, where the House of Laity, the House of Clergy, and the House of Bishop will come together and exchange ideas and look at issues bordering on the administration of the church and how it can be improved upon. The bishop is a president of the synod, but that doesn't make him the lord of the synod, even though his lordship. But the laity are allowed to contribute their own ideas and suggestions. The priests are also to contribute, and when all these ideas are put together, they now form the policy of the diocese, and it creates a kind of unity, check and balances. Okay. In a situation whereby a priest is excessively exercising his authority, you have that check and balances to checkmate that priest. If members are also overdoing certain things, you have that check and balances that will also make the authority of the church to call them to order. So the Anglican Church has a policy, administrative policy that creates check and balances between the priests, the laity, and even the bishop. And you have layers of administration. You cannot just, even though we say that, yes, the vicar is open, accessible to every member. You don't need A or B before you access the vicar of the church. And if there is any problem that is beyond the capacity of the vicar, he refers to the PCC. If the PCC handles the issue and is beyond the PCC, it's referred to the archdeacon of that archdeaconry. And if the archdeacon handles it and he feels that it is beyond him, he refers to the bishop. So also the bishop will handle, and if he feels that it's beyond him, he refers to the archbishop of that province. Then from that archbishop, it goes to the primate, who is the head of the Anglican Church nationwide. So that is the layer of administration in the Anglican Communion, and the forum where policies are formulated that will create check and balances between the bishop, the priest, and the laity.
Wow. All right, Mr. Lucky, I'm sure you want to weigh in on this, especially on how to address this issue in the church, whereby men of God see themselves as demigods themselves. Some you have to get through processes, like we've rightly said before, to get through them. How do we address this issue before we go to the society?
As we know in our communion, no system is perfect, but I think our communion system is near perfect. I so cherish it. You go to the accounting system, the electing of people to the PCC that governs the parish, to the diocesan board. You know, members are allowed to play one role or the other. No priest in the church can just go to the bank and withdraw any money without the word is signing. Wardens cannot touch the money without the priest signing. It's a near perfect, and everything you spend at the end of the month come to the PCC. After the approval, they will still come back at the end of the month and see how it's spent. Accountability. I think that is near perfect. It doesn't mean that we don't have some clergymen and leaders in the church, in the Anglican Church, that pride and ego has also entered. It's normal, even among the 12. You had a brother Judas. So it's not because of the setting of the church. It's because of maybe that individual's character.
Okay.
And maybe the ability to carry what the Lord has given him. Because some people, I was preaching in Kano one day, I said, why some people are not millionaires? It's because if God give you 2 million, you will marry a second wife. Now you are loving your wife every day because you only have 200,000. So God will not say, this man will go marry 4 wives and become a drunkard. Though. God will withhold the 1.8 million and let you manage the 200,000. So there's people that they don't have the capacity to manage what God has given them. The grace, the anointing of God upon their life has entered, and the power and the authority. Let me put the authority. We have some few in our midst in the communion, but the structure of the communion does not actually encourage that. It does not actually encourage that. There are platforms where people ask bishop questions. There are platforms where people ask priest questions. I've seen it happen in PCC. I've been in PCC for several years. You know, but there are some churches, as I am, if I want to see the primate, it won't take me much. If I want to see the primate, maybe if he's in town and it's less busy, I want to see him for nothing tomorrow. It's possible I will see him. But nobody from Central Parish here in Redeem that just a lay member want to see Adeboye tomorrow and see him. It's not possible.
Okay.
It's not. Because the way it's structured. And two, relevant to society. You know, the problem we have in Nigeria generally that have entered the church is really 80 or 90% the problem of leadership. Leadership have created a society ravaged with poverty. And that poverty has grown to a level that even those that are rich now have poverty mentality.
Okay.
And that also has created in us greed. That is what is also putting pressure on our leaders. And it's also reflecting in the church. Because if every priest, truly speaking, wants to carry the body of every member, the priest will die and another priest will be brought in tomorrow. Because the society has so... societal leaders have so created an avenue that every man in Nigeria needs money. In America, nobody goes to see the president for contract. Nobody goes to... Now, Abuja is filled up with everybody. Because people have to be sworn in as senators. I saw bosses outside. That's what I did. They said, Amosu and his group. Why are you here? You don't need to be here. If people have been inaugurated in America, I don't think people flood the assembly complex or the city that hosts the assembly complex. Solidarity with talking drum everywhere. What do they want? Money. So because of that pressure, it's creating problem for our leaders. You want to marry, you will call your house of prayer member. You want to pay school fees, you will call your house of prayer member. You want to pay house rent, you will call house of prayer member. And you don't have people that are in that community that will call the same man who the man be there. Because they're the same people who have created that. What will I call it? What should I call it now? The scenario around us that has made us poor. They have siphoned our money, they have siphoned our commonwealth, is for them, their wives, and their children alone. You will suffer in that office. If everybody around you, your family is poor, you will break down. Your cousin will call you, your nephew will call you, your mother will call you, your auntie will call you, you will die. But if everybody in your family is averagely rich, you will be sleeping. So that is the pressure the church is also facing. If you see the letters that come to my church every day for welfare, somebody will tell you how to start up a makeup business, church, give me money. I have a police case with my wife, church, give me money. If that person has some money, he will not come to the church.
Exactly.
So it's also causing problem. The leaders should address this issue of poverty. Otherwise, they too will not have peace. You are given an appointment, people are rejoicing in your community, your church is rejoicing. Do you know why your church is rejoicing? More money during harvest. Do your society is rejoicing? More contract for your people. But it's supposed to be so. If your people they are all okay, they don't need contract. We have become contractors in Abuja now because no work to do. So if you get to the office, you are in trouble. So you have to start creating barricades. Even some people will see you and say, ask to come and see me. I saw your PA. And they have already told the PA, I'm tired, I don't see anybody. What's wrong with that, my PA self? It's a lie. Because they are running. Why are they running? Because the pressure. Why is the pressure there? Because they have made us poor.
Wow.
And if they don't change it, they will continue to suffer.
Okay.
And it also continue to affect the church.
Okay.
But leaders in church should know that they are not leaders in society. They should be different. You are a servant. You are a servant. You are a shepherd. A shepherd cannot run from his sheep. The sheep will die of hunger. Who will feed them? You see the Fulani boys inside the bush with their cows. They are shepherds. So our pastors should know that they are shepherds. Inside the rain, we should be there together. In the sun, we should be there together. If they died in the cause, so be it. Christ died for us.
Certainly. All right. You talked about the followers now, the led now, how they run after the leaders, even when it's not necessary. So let's talk about a little bit the roles that the led have to play also in addressing this issue. The people that the followers, the people that are being led, what are they supposed to do in order to put their leaders in check?
Well, in Nigeria, it is a big challenge.
It's difficult.
Why am I saying it's a big challenge? We have leaders who have reprobate minds. Even if the followers should tell them the truth,
We will see you again tomorrow.
is it only to see? They will even send people to come and eliminate you. It's happening everywhere. That if you are so bold to tell those in authority the truth,
You're in trouble.
you are in trouble. And many people are afraid to speak out now. And that is why you can see insecurity everywhere, because when you don't, when you don't allow people to speak their mind, and you are not open to change, positive change, and you perpetually suppress the people,
You explode one day.
there will be explosion. So what you are seeing, the violence you are seeing in different regions, is a result of the attitude of our leaders, not ready and open for suggestions. They are not ready because, number one, they are not voted by the people. And because they are not voted by the people, there is no place of sacrifice.
Wow.
And until a leader, because if you look at the scripture very well, the Israelites, each time they have any problem, they go to Moses. They cry to Moses. They even insult Moses. It came to a point, what Moses did by striking the rock,
Pressure from.
it was as a result of pressure from the people. You understand? So, but he sees himself as the leader of the Israelites. He didn't see himself as a lord. And until our leaders, they see themselves as servants, not as lord. What you see in the society today, what the violence you are seeing today, is a child's play. It's a child's play.
No.
Because when you begin to suppress people, today you cannot, as a young man, there is a limit to what you can do.
Okay.
You understand? There is a limit. Even they have venue for you to speak up your mind. If it's not created, if the platform, the atmosphere is not created, you cannot speak. Even if you speak, nobody will hear you. You understand?
Certainly. Okay, so we are concluding right now. So let's speak to the newly elected leaders in Nigeria, and probably also leaders in the church, because every year the elections, new PCC and all that. Let's speak to the new leaders right now.
New leaders and rulers, because there are some that are not voted into power. They took power by force. So just as you are...
You can take power by force and be good to your people. The Rollins took power by force and he was good to Ghanaians. He was not voted for. Rollins was not voted for. And he changed Ghana. It's not about even how you came in. You can come in anyhow. Let me use that word. But if you want to be good, you can't be good.
Okay.
Are you telling me every governor that did well where nobody in Nigeria that have never read the election, whether you win or you lose, the rigging,
It depends on the level of rigging.
Yes, but you have governors that did well, that even they did well, but if you go to some local government, it was also rigged for them. They will never be aware.
Okay, but what is your advice now, Canon, to this newly elected?
Yes, my advice, because what I'm seeing is that religion, ethnicity, and tribalism is playing a very negative role in Nigeria's politics. And as they take their oath of office, and as the National United Assembly is taking off today, the assembly members must know that they are not there to represent Buhari. They are not there to represent Oshibanjo. They are not there to represent Oshomole. They are not there to represent Uche Secondos. They are there to represent the common man on the street. And if they fail to do what is right, God will judge them. And he will visit them and their generation with whatever they have denied the common man on the street. Because if you look at our roads today, they have become death traps. Every year, budgetary provision are being made. If you look at our hospitals, they have become slaughter ground. Our schools, you will see the children of the rich traveling to other countries, and they leave our schools here unattended to. If they fail to do what is right, they put themselves under curse as they take oath of office with the Bible or with their Quran today. Whether they like it or not, God will visit them, because he has promised us that he will visit the sin of the children of, he will visit the sin of the father upon the children, and the children share to the third and fourth generation.
Okay.
So we should not begin to, especially those of them that are Christians, they are the conscience of the National Assembly. They are there to represent their citizens. They are there to represent the common man on the street. And they should not think that they will remain there forever. Power is transcendent. As God has given them the opportunity to serve, as God has given them the opportunity to make changes, they must make positive changes. They must not be like some politicians we know that are looking forward to second tenure or third tenure before they do what is right.
Okay.
Now is the time. Okay. You may not have another opportunity to make a positive change. So now that you have the opportunity, whatever change you want to do, if you know the right thing, stand by it, because the Bible says you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
All right, you will know the truth, and truth shall set you free. Mr. Lucky Ego, you are political.
Our leaders is that our Christian leaders, they should know that nothing lasts forever. Those men you see on the street driving their cars, Jonathan came to the church alone. He once used siren. So one day you will come down. It's like the beauty of a woman. That 90 years old woman you see in your village once had a pointed breast. Oh. Now she sits outside without breast there. It will happen to you as a leader. One day you will live there, and the things you face to do now will affect you or your children, whether you like it or not. Okay. It will bounce back to you. So when you are going there as a Christian leader, take Jesus to your office. The people of other faith, Muslims, they take Islam to their office. That's why people start blaming them. That is Islam, Nigeria. I will be laughing. Why can't you Christianize Nigeria? Because my people will drop Jesus at the door. Others will take their religion to the office. You'll be blaming them. Why not also bring your own? Let's have clash of religion, and see which one will come out the winner. But we'll drop Jesus they should take Christ to their office. That's the reason that will save them at the last day. So you don't go there and say, you know, we don't know. You are there as a Christian. Project what you stand for, which is Christianity. And if you're there as a true Christian, you rule well. The culture of Christ will reflect in you, and will naturally rule well. The Holy Spirit will be there to guide you. But when you drop Christ at the office, you start sharing money with them. Keep sharing, keep sharing. Wow. The last day will count.
Wow. All right. Thank you very much. I must appreciate both of you for taking our time to spend in the studio with us today. Thank you, Mr. Lucky. Thank you, Canon Abuja.
Thank you.
Remember, the viewers,
God bless you.
I want you to remember,
bless you.
remember that the truth shall set you free. And remember, take Jesus to your office. Okay, this is where we bring it to a close today. We've heard from the guests, and in a quick summary, leaders are elected and appointed to serve, and it is expected that they be accessible and approachable. Thank you for staying tuned with us on our station today on this program. Make it a date, same time, same station next week. And until then, bye for now.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and viewers and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN.
Did you know Jesus said, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the